I like conflict. I thrive on conflict. I thrive on trying to improve myself, improve my arguments, improve my discourse. Okay, I don't mind that in the least, and there's no reason why I should mind that. In terms of who should watch their words, you must watch your words, not me. You are the ones who are marginalized, not me. You are in America, and you talk about your dream about what America could become. Your dream is absurd and is not held by the vast majority of Americans. You must watch your words, not me.
Why don't you put your half-baked ideas back in the oven, dude?
Your ideas are half-baked. You have no idea what America is.
Like,
you have no idea what America will become.
Somebody clip this.
Bad.
Somebody clip this, and we'll just get it. We'll get it so everybody can see it. Because if more people saw you, Kyle, like I wouldn't be marginalized. They would be begging for me. They would be begging for somebody like me to solve the problem.
Americans, and you are wrong.
They're like, this problem requires a solution.
People not like people who blame
Finally,
everyone else.
We need a solution, like a final solution.
Okay. Enough talk about the final solution, Brundle. I talked to you about that. You can't do that.
I don't know what. I'm just saying a solution to the problem.
No, you're talking about the oven. You're talking about final solution.
I said his ideas go in an oven.
Yeah, we all know what you're saying.
They're half-baked.
Yeah, we know what you're saying.
I'm not saying anything, dude.
That's what I was talking about. That display right there, that display of aggression and meanness. Kyle, you want some real advice, some of your elite money, and you need to go live in the third world for a year. That's what you need to do, and then you can experience real oppression and real poverty and real racism. Okay? I mean, my first time. Listen. My first time in India, I had to pay tax simply because I was white. They would say, pay this fee, and I'd say, why? And they say, you're white.
When you bitch at me from the chat, and when you give me this sort of condescending advice,
I'm not in the chat.
Watch your words, Mad Pie.
Huh?
Watch your words.
Look at you, man.
You're a menacing tone, dude.
Look.
I mean, honestly, look.
And you would never say that to me to my face.
I would say it to your face.
Look at that. Go to church, man. Go to church.
Watch my
words.
Go
to church.
Also, you can watch
go to church.
You
need to go to church, buddy.
Okay. So we got a cultural difference
can I say one last
here.
Thing?
Yeah. Okay, Matt.
I'm grabbing the mic, and I love you, buddy. Listen, I was a member of the Hillsong Church in Moscow. I can get along with him fine, even though he thinks I am crazy. Like, you can think I'm crazy all day, Kyle. I don't care. I've grown up my whole life people thinking I'm crazy. And I'm telling you, buddy, this attitude, you're flying close to the sun, and your wings are just going to melt.
Watch your words.
Keep cussing at me.
Okay. So
let
what we have here,
out. Let them out.
It's a basic cultural difference. So turn the other cheek is not a Jewish approach. When, as a Jew, when you're attacked, you fight back. You don't turn the other cheek. As a Christian, when you're attacked, often you will turn the other cheek.
And those are American values too, by the way.
Well, I think we should be done with that. That's got to end. Let's go.
Yeah, well, how we get done with Brundle?
We got to study. No, we got to study. We got to study alt-right Torah and listen to Melky and Luke, who taught us that we ought to have dual morality, and people with dual passports and dual citizenship can get out.
Yeah, Brundle, you said people with dual morality and dual allegiances should get out. So you're essentially saying that people like your wife should leave, because pretty much everyone but Northern Europeans operate by dual morality.
I think the dunking of water, the dunking of heads, baptism should be enough. Something we've been talking about on this show is that there is a divide between Christians and Jews, particularly Ashkenazi Jews and Europeans, right? I mean, this is a millennia-old conflict. As they say, 109 times Jews have been expelled for whatever reason. In my opinion, for having the kind of chutzpah that Kyle displays, okay? Now, how do we stop the cycle? The cycle's not good for anybody. No, I don't, the cycle's not good for anybody. So what do? I personally think, I think it's a religious solution. I think Jews basically need to stop standing apart. They need to assimilate. This is if this is the melting pot, not the salad bowl. We all need to assimilate. And Judaism doesn't seem to be cult compatible in the long term alongside Christianity. These conflicts emerge. So the synagogues, I know what the laws are. Okay. I'm just saying if we were going to radically change things to make it work, either Jews could like open up religious conversion to allow all the Gentiles to become Jews, or vice versa. Based on my understanding of each religion's theology, it'd be much easier for the Jews to become Christians. I don't. So what about that proposal? Because we clearly have a problem. We clearly have a problem, and I know Kyle says we shouldn't talk about it and everything, but like it is so fundamental. As I point out, like why when I argue with Kyle, or we argue with Kyle, and the only people that support Kyle are Jews, and you'll have Levi in the chat going, I don't know why Kyle's Jewishness matters or whatever. It's like because the only people that agree with Kyle are Jews. So like, what are we supposed to think? Like, there's clearly a Jewish Christian divide over whether what Kyle says has any validity.
Keep saying Jewish Christian. How many people in the chat do you think are Christians versus pagans?
There's no pagans, man.
Norman. Many people believe that Christianity is
like,
a Jew
like
on a stick.
15 of them. They're loud as hell. I'll give it to you.
I remember that Greg Easterbrook controversy of the last decade when he was fired from ESPN. And he was fired because he had said he'd appealed to the great ethical tradition of the Jews and with the power that Jews have in Hollywood. And he was taking a stand against what is called torture porn. Eli Roth, the Jewish director, being one of the great proponents of torture porn. And he was appealing to the Jews of Hollywood to do something about this. This was deemed to be anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
And he was fired from ESPN, and it looked like his career was over. I mean, they deleted his archive. And through various means, I don't know what happened. Eventually, he was admitted back to the good graces of ESPN, which is, of course, owned by Disney. But these subsidiary fights broke out. And one of them was between, Josh Marshall, that's his name? TCM?
Yeah.
I think. Something like that. Yeah. TPC or some such thing. And David Frum. And it just got to the white hot intensity almost immediately. And it was, who are you calling a bad Jew? And I thought, these people go from 0 to 100, in a way that shouldn't be theoretically possible.
Well, there's a very big difference. And it's not just Jews. It's more, I think, a difference of Middle Eastern people versus European people. When you see two Arabs having a minor fender bender and they're screaming and they're gesticulating, and you'd think that someone had died when there were no serious injuries. It's just Middle Eastern people are much more emotionally intense. They're much more likely to go from 0 to 100 on an emotional scale than European people. Is that a fair analysis, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, I think so. But going back to Kyle, look, an American looks at America and he says, my country. This is my country. Kyle looks at America, and I'm using his words, or a close paraphrase of his words. He sees America as a superior value proposition for the time being, but this is subject to change. Patriots, category 1, and situational people like Kyle, the gulf between those two groups of people is so vast that it can never be bridged. It's impossible.
Okay, Kyle, 2 minutes.
The gulf between people who view America as it is, as a hellscape, as some sort of degenerate, completely lost country, and actual patriots is immense and cannot be bridged. People who are constantly alluding to lies that are told about America, like this notion that that 1 million Iraqi children died because of sanctions. These sorts of lies and slander against the country. People who embrace that are completely at odds with actual American patriots. Actual American patriots like America as it is and want to make it better. They want to make America great, and they do not want to actually. 500,000 is also nonsense, by the way. Kevin just held up. If you couldn't see, Kevin held up a paper saying 500,000. Also a nonsensical figure. Lies about America.
Albright.
Lies about America are not embraced by American patriots. The fact that some politician tacitly accepted some number does not make it official, statistics.
What about 6 million? Would that be more accurate?
6 million is a number of Jews that were slaughtered by anti-Semitic little bitches.
Whoa. Hey, I don't agree with that number. Just because that number's written down, bro.
Ha.
Like, why are you
Yeah.
questioning
Just
the official
arbitrary
genocide
number
numbers of
which has
Iraq?
no
How
support
dare
in
you?
any statistics.
How
An
dare
arbitrary
you?
number
How
which is
dare you?
only
Frankly,
counted
that's
in Iraqi
anti-Semitic since
propaganda
Arabs
is
are
not
Semites.
comparable to the number
You're the
of
anti-Semite.
killed in the
You're the
Holocaust.
anti-Semite.
Holocaust denial is an indication of mental illness and complete divorce from reality.
So
Okay?
is Iraq genocide denial.
The only source for
It's
500,000 is
anti-Semitic.
Iraqi propaganda. The only source for that 500,000 is Iraqi propaganda. It has no support in documents that were found after the invasion. It's just nonsense. It's just a slur against America. It's just slander against America. Whereas the Holocaust is a well-documented historical event which could not be fake because it involved the disappearance of millions and millions of people, an entire demographic in Europe. To compare the two is mentally ill, and it's just another example of the mental illness that pervades this community and which prevents it from having any success at all.
You're arguing like a communist again. Anyone who disagrees with you is mentally ill. You also display bad faith because, look, I was a member of the Paleocons. I was a member of tradition long before you were even on this earth. Don't compare me to a bunch of lunatics in the chat. I have not threatened you with anything, Kyle. And yet whenever I speak, you keep bringing up people with shaved heads and tattoos on their necks. This is an example of your intellectual dishonesty.
Jews tend to be much more verbally aggressive and verbally violent than non-Jews. So their murder rates are quite low. But the way that Jews argue is at a level of intensity and verbal violence that most non-Jews find off-putting. That's my perception as a convert to Orthodox Judaism. As a non-Jew who's married to a Jew, Brundle, what are your thoughts?
I see Jews debate arguments like they have to win, and they will, like I said earlier, like Kyle clings to theses and then can just argue eternally, even when it's just so ridiculous on its face. Like as I used the example of the rabbit hole we went down on the great deal that the United States government offered the Native Americans.
But I want more of your
just,
personal experiences. Like you've now gotten to argue with Jews.
Here, I don't have to necessarily tie it into my own.
You don't have to talk about your wife, but you've gotten to meet Jews, and you've had arguments with Jews in your real life
this is
off
what
the internet.
Well, okay, it's the same thing. It's always like it's the internet. I mean, I've probably had a greater volume of in-depth arguments with Jews on the internet than I have my entire life combined. Okay, so this would be the best source of information. But it definitely, the pattern holds true. And I would just say that the thing is like when we do this cross-cultural exchange, like what Kyle interprets as a warning is basically feedback saying like, listen, dude, like to our ears, what we hear is just so unacceptable by our norms that you need to understand that, because like if he were, if he were face to face with somebody, this is not saying I would hit him in the face. It's just like I would tell my son, like, don't go around doing silly shit or you'll get your ass beat. Dude, like how you're acting, I would not be surprised if some reasonable person, knocked you out.
Okay, I want to get
on the fly. You better watch your words.
Shut up! You're a little twerp. Get laid first before you talk to me. You call me marginalized? You don't
whining about your life, denying the Holocaust, and talking about how upset.
Kyle, just stop. Just stop.
Why
okay,
should
I want to get.
I'm trying to seriously tell you. Like, you take it as you're totally delusional. When everybody disagrees with you, it's not everybody else's fault.
I would be afraid in real life.
It's like, why does everybody hate me? It must be everybody else's problem.
Come on, this is embarrassing.
Because you don't show your face.
It's everybody else's problem. I don't show my face, faggot.
You don't show your face because you're afraid. I show my face because I'm not afraid, because we live in
Luke, come on, Luke.
Where Holocaust denial is not acceptable.
Okay. Controlled opposition, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think people are exaggerating the Christian-Jewish divide.